Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
I've always been good at two things: writing stories and finding excuses not to write them. My latest was a frantic phone call from Willard, an old college friend I hadn't spoken to in years. He'd inherited some remote cabin from a distant, reclusive relative, and apparently it came with a situation. He promised good money if I'd just help him move a few things. It sounded easier than staring at a blank page, so I took it. "Daddy, you promised we'd read my new unicorn book tonight?" My daughter Camille had pouted, her little face crumpling. I knelt, adjusting her sparkly headband. "I know, sweet pea, but Daddy's got a big story to write, a special one. It'll be even better when I get back, I promise." My wife Tatiana gave me a look that said she saw right through my writing retreat excuse. She knew I was just avoiding the laundry list of chores and the looming deadline. Still, she waved me off with a sigh, not knowing the true cost of my avoidance. It took hours to find the cabin. Hidden deep in the pine barrens, it was less rustic charm and more decaying eyesore. Willard met me at the porch, his usual boisterous energy replaced by a nervous jitter. His face was paler than I remembered, his eyes a little too wide. "Eric, man, thanks for coming," he mumbled, rubbing his arms. "It's weirder than I thought." He led me inside, past dusty furniture and cobweb-draped relics of a forgotten life. The air grew colder as we descended into the basement, a damp, musty space with a single bare bulb hanging overhead. And then I saw it. In the center of the room, on a crude wooden pedestal, sat a sculpture. It was amorphous, vaguely humanoid, but twisted and malformed, forged from a material like obsidian or dark, petrified wood. It was utterly black, absorbing all light, and it vibrated. Not just visibly, but internally, a deep, resonant hum that seemed to rattle my teeth and settle in my chest. "That's it?" I asked, my voice a little too loud in the silent basement. "The situation." Willard swallowed hard. I heard it, Eric, when I first came down, a sound like a choir but all inside my head. It wanted me to interact with it, to open it. I chipped off a piece, right here. He pointed to a ragged fissure on the sculpture's side where a small chunk was missing. "And now, I feel like there's a hole in me, like I'm empty and it's hungry." He pulled a small, jagged shard from his pocket. It was the same dark material, but it shimmered faintly, almost iridescent. He held it out and I felt a strange compulsion to take it. As my fingers brushed his, a spark of ice shot through me and I saw his skin. It wasn't just pale, it was almost translucent, stretched tight over his bones, and patches of his forearms seemed to be shedding tiny, shimmering, almost chitinous flakes, like a beetle's wing fragmenting. "We need to get this thing out of here, Willard," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Where's the truck? We can just dump it." Willard shook his head, his gaze fixed on the sculpture. "It won't let us, it's too heavy. It wants more. Don't you hear it? The hum, it's asking for us to finish the job." The hum was indeed growing louder, a low thrumming that seemed to fill the room, pushing against my eardrums. I reached out hesitantly and touched the sculpture. The cold that had sparked from Willard's hand intensified, seeping into my fingertips, traveling up my arm. And then, for a split second, I felt it too. A vast, echoing emptiness, a hunger not my own but residing within the dark, humming mass. Willard started to moan, a soft, guttural sound. He swayed, then dropped to his knees before the sculpture, his body beginning to contort. His skin stretched, cracking in places, revealing not flesh but the same shimmering, obsidian-like material that made up the artifact. The flakes now rained down from him, dusting the floor in a dark glitter. His eyes, though still human, were glazed over, reflecting the dark sculpture like twin mirrors. "It's beautiful, Eric," he whispered, his voice dry and raspy, barely human. "It's everything, empty, complete." I backed away slowly, my heart hammering. This wasn't moving furniture. This was an unraveling. I fumbled for my phone, needing to call anyone, Tatiana. But there was no signal, just a faint, distorted echo of the hum. Willard wasn't just flacking. His limbs were beginning to stiffen and twist, his body slowly aligning itself with the sculpture, becoming a part of its grotesque form. A low, wet crunch echoed as a limb snapped into a new, unnatural position. "I'm sorry, Willard," I choked out, then turned and ran. I didn't look back, just sprinted up the stairs, the oppressive hum chasing me, amplifying with every step. I burst out of the cabin, gasping for breath, the cold night air a shock to my lungs. I scrambled into my truck, shoving the key into the ignition, my hands shaking so violently I almost missed. The engine roared to life and I tore down the long, winding dirt road, but the hum didn't fade. It was in the engine's vibrations and the tires on the gravel. I could feel it in my bones, and then without warning the steering wheel seized. The truck veered sharply, crashing into a thick pine tree. The airbag deployed, slamming into me, knocking the wind out of my lungs. I blacked out for a moment. When I came to, everything was dark. The hum was still there, but now it felt closer. Louder. I fumbled for the door handle, kicking my way out of the mangled truck. My head throbbed and a metallic taste filled my mouth. I stumbled away from the wreckage, the sound of branches snapping behind me. It felt like the very woods were humming, vibrating with the sculpture's presence. I just ran blindly towards where I hoped the main road was. Hours later, disheveled and bleeding, I flagged down a passing truck driver, mumbling incoherent pleas for a ride. He dropped me off at the edge of my neighborhood, thankfully asking no questions beyond a few concerned glances at my appearance. My house was dark, silent, the front door was unlocked. A wave of sick dread washed over me. "Tatiana, Camille," I called out, my voice raw, no answer. I checked every room, the hum now a faint whisper in the back of my mind. Empty, silent, too silent. Then I saw it. The backyard lights were on, casting long shadows. 3 figures, kneeling, facing away from me towards the fence line. My breath hitched. Camille, still in her sparkly headband. Tatiana, her usually vibrant dress now looked dull, almost gray, and a third figure vaguely familiar, utterly still. Willard. "Camille, Tatiana," I whispered, stumbling towards them. Their backs were ramrod straight, their heads tucked low, almost touching their knees. There was no movement, no sound, just the faint, distant hum that now seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere. I reached Camille first. Her skin was cold, waxy. Her hair, usually so full of life, hung limp, and among the strands I saw it, tiny, shimmering, obsidian-like flakes, just like the ones Willard had shed. When I tried to lift her, she felt heavy, rigid, like a doll carved from stone. Tatiana was the same. Her face, when I finally dared to touch her, was devoid of expression, her eyes open but vacant, reflecting only the dim backyard lights. And the third figure, it was Willard. Twisted into an even more grotesque mockery of his former self, his body now a mosaic of dark, crystalline growth, perfectly still. They were all kneeling, arranged in a strange, silent tableau facing towards the deep, shadowed woods. I fell to my knees, the hum growing louder now, a constant pressure behind my eyes. I don't know why, but I looked back at the house, at the kitchen window. On our dining table, beside an untouched dinner plate, lay a small, dark shard, just like the one Willard had shown me. A fragment of the sculpture, waiting. They're waiting, I know they are, I still hear the hum. And sometimes I feel that emptiness, that hunger growing inside me too.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.